Today we're taking a look at these college basketball matches, which are happening on Tuesday, February 14, 2023, and giving you our team and total picks for today. Welcome back to High Stakes. Before we dive into our video, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and make sure to watch it till the end so you don't miss any of our picks. Also check out our Patreon if you want to access our premium picks. Our Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. You will find the link in description and comments section below. One more thing before we start, check out our new channel High Stakes Props and Parlays, where you can find our player props and parlay picks predictions. You will find the link in the description and comment section below. Miami versus Toledo. Toledo has had a good season and the Rockets come into this game on a 9-game winning streak. They are playing their best basketball of the year. Miami of Ohio has struggled all season. The Redhawks haven't won a road game in nearly 2 months, and their offense has been inconsistent all year. Miami of Ohio has struggled defensively all season. Their defense isn't likely going to hold up against a Rockets team that is shooting 46.8% from the floor this year. Take Toledo minus 15.5 points. Toledo has played fast and the Rockets have been a top offensive team all year. The Rockets are 43rd in adjusted tempo out of 363 teams, and the home team usually dictates pace. Miami of Ohio has struggled defensively all year, and the Redhawks defense should have more problems in this matchup against a top Toledo offense in what should be a faster-paced game. Take the over 155.5 points. Creighton versus Providence. Revenge will be on the minds of the Friars in this matchup, as well as a chance to climb into the thick of the Big East regular season title race. In the first matchup, Providence shot just above 30% in the first half and fell behind by 14 points before rallying in the second half and falling short. At home this season, Providence is a perfect 13-0 on the season, while Creighton is a game under .500 on the road. Providence will come into this game looking to bounce back from a poor shooting performance against St. John's on the road. In the Friars' last 3 home wins, they have held the opposition to 64 points or younger in each of the outings. Providence will dominate the glass and slow down the red-hot Blue Jays. Take Providence. Providence will avenge an earlier season loss to Creighton with a victory at home on Tuesday, but the play here is under. The under has cashed in 7 of Creighton's last 10 as well as in 7 of Providence's last 10. In the first meeting between the two earlier this season, a total of 140 points was scored, which cashed under the closing line of 142 points. Northern Illinois NIU versus Ball State. In an interesting reversal, Northern Illinois is 9-5 on the road against the spread, while Ball State is 4-5 ATS at home. NIU is also 4-0 ATS in its last 4 road games. Ball State is 2-3 ATS in its last 5 home games. Since losing earlier to Ball State, NIU is playing much better, going 3-1 both overall and ATS. Take Northern Illinois plus 8.5 points. There are some statistics that suggest this may be a high-scoring game. Ball State entered Monday 22nd nationally in 3-point percentage, .379. Northern Illinois is at .348, but the Huskies average more attempts per game, 21.52, than Ball State, which is last in the MAC in 3-point attempts, 19.84 per game. Ball State also struggles defending the 3, allowing a percentage of .366, which was 329th nationally entering Monday. Both teams also do a decent job getting some easy points in transition. NIU averages 10.96 fast break points, while Ball State averages 10.08. So there could be a lot of threes and layups, which could lend to a high-scoring game. In addition, the over is 5-0 in NIU's last 5 games following a straight-up win. The over is 4-1 in Ball State's last 5 games following a straight-up win of more than 20 points. Ball State is coming off a 21-point win. Take over 146 points. Akron versus Eastern Michigan. Akron still has games ahead of them that could ultimately help them get back atop the conference, but I do believe the better get-right spot for Akron would have to be at home in their next game versus Buffalo. The Bulls are a subpar team in the conference too, and with Akron being a shaky team against the number in conference road games all year long, to have them running bad currently and laying this chalk on the road isn't a spot without warts. Add in the fact that Akron hung 104 on Eastern Michigan in the first meeting, and the Zips will have Eastern Michigan's full attention here as the Eagles players look to scrape some pride back. I don't think that Akron's offense is going to come near the 54% shooting they had in the first meeting, and this Eastern Michigan team that's been putting 90 points up on the regular lately isn't likely to be 35% from the floor again either. The Eagles' leading scorer Amani Bates was 1 for 12 from the floor in that blowout loss, and this is a guy that's EMU's leading scorer at 20.5 points a game. Back at home and playing some of their best basketball of the season, all that's really missing from this strong Eastern Michigan ATS run is that statement outright win against a top team in the conference. Akron fits into that argument, and on a 2-game slide, with a blowout revenge angle floating around, I'll trust the home dog here to cover the number and threaten the outright win. Eastern Michigan plus 8.5 points. Eastern Michigan's poor effective FG% at home this year is a concern for the side play, but if Akron is going to bounce back with a win here, chances are they do it by relying on their play on the defensive end. They'll tell you these last 2 games have been the anomaly defensively for them, and facing a team they locked down before and is prone to droughts at home, I think you can only look at the under here. After EMU allowed 100 plus in the first meeting with Akron, I expect their defense to be much more engaged from the outset. Poor season-long numbers defensively. Allow 81.8 points per game, ranked 359th. Don't tell the whole story when you consider EMU is actually 4-5 OU at home this season, and given the nature of the spot and the different motivations both sides have to get a win, the majority of those scenarios should lead to an under at this number. Missouri versus Auburn. Auburn has been struggling in their latest string of games. They have lost 3 straight in 5 of their last 6 games. Auburn is 3-3 against the spread in these last 6 games. Auburn has a record of 5-8 against the spread when they are single-digit favorites this season. Auburn's defense can slow teams down, but their offense has struggled especially in key moments. Missouri's offense is one of the top teams in the country, but their defense has certainly struggled. Mizzou's offense should allow them to hang around. It may be tough for them to win, but they should cover. Take Missouri to cover. Missouri's offense is good enough to reach 80 points, but not against this defense. This should be a low-scoring affair as both teams slow the pace down, especially in a close game late in the second half. The under is 5-1 in the Tigers' last 6 road games versus a team with a home winning percentage of greater than .600. Take the under 150.5 points on Tuesday. NC State versus Syracuse. This is the lone meeting between these two this season, so we don't have a prior matchup to break down. We do, however, see that both teams won at Boston College within their last 2 games, the Orange by 9 and the Wolfpack by 30. Both teams shot well against the Eagles, with the Orange shooting 51% overall and the Wolfpack shooting 55.2%. NC State also hit 15 3-pointers against BC while Syracuse hit just 4. The Orange are 8-5-1 ATS at home this season and 1-1-1 in their last 3 at home as underdogs. NC State is 4-4 ATS on the road this season and 2-0 ATS on the road as favorites. The Wolfpack have been shooting well enough of late, and the Orange struggle with a hot 3-point shooter, something their opponents can provide. The road team is 4-1 ATS in the last 5 meetings, per Covers.com, and the Wolfpack are 3-1 ATS in their last 4 games at Syracuse. Take NC State -1 point. This season these two teams have combined to see 28 of their games go over the total. Over their last 5 games they have a combined 148 points per game on the nose. That number comes despite both teams scoring under their season averages in that span. Twice in their last 4 games the Wolfpack scored 92 or more, and over their last 9 games they have scored 75 or more on 6 times. Syracuse has scored 75 or more 6 times in their last 9 games as well. NC State has averaged 29.2 field goals made per game over their last 5, and Syracuse has averaged 26 makes in the same stretch. The Wolfpack are ranked 76th by Ken Palm in their tempo ratings and Syracuse 176th, an indicator that we should get a good number of points in this game. The over is 4-1 in the last 5 meetings of these schools. Take the over 148 points. Notre Dame versus Duke. This will be a blowout. Duke has covered some big numbers in the ACC this season. They were favored by 16.5 against Florida State and covered, and they were favored by 9 against Georgia Tech, then proceeded to win by 43. Filipowski will get a much-needed bounce-back game at home, as Notre Dame is weak on the defensive end, especially in the post. The Irish do not have an interior presence to stop Duke's attack inside. Duke is undefeated at home, and have beaten some of the top teams in the ACC at Cameron Indoor. They will not let the Irish keep this one close. Notre Dame is a perimeter-focused team, but Duke has the length on the perimeter to challenge the shooters. The Irish were 12-point dogs in UNC and they couldn't cover, and the same will happen here. Duke will control this game beginning to end. Take Duke minus 13.5 points to win big at home and get the cover. These are two of the slowest teams in the ACC according to Ken Palm's pace of play statistics. Notre Dame's tempo ranks 316th in the nation, and Duke's is 271st. Notre Dame runs half-court sets that focus on finding openings on the perimeter for Leshevsky or their other shooters. Duke relies heavily on their 7-foot freshman Filipowski, and working the ball into the post can drain the shot clock and limit possessions for both teams. Duke has hit the under in 4 of their last 5 games, and the one over happened because the Virginia game went to overtime. Expect both teams to try to play to their strengths and slow the game down. If Notre Dame is going to keep it close, they want a low-scoring game, as they do not have the firepower to get in a track meet with Duke. Take the under 140.5 points. Nebraska versus Rutgers. I was initially tempted to take Nebraska to cover because of how poor the Scarlet Knights have been offensively recently. In their last 3 games, the Scarlet Knights have only scored 61, 60 and 60 points. But digging deeper into the numbers, Nebraska's only real advantage in this game is 3-point shooting, and that's not really an advantage since Nebraska still ranks 10th in the Big Ten in trays per game. Rutgers is 16-9 against the spread this season, and had covered in 5 of its previous 7 before slipping up at Indiana and at Illinois. I'm chalking those up as 2 really tough Big Ten road games. Now the Scarlet Knights get to return home to face a Nebraska team that has only covered in 3 of its last 10 games. The Cornhuskers have very little depth, and have 8 of their last 12 games have resulted in double-digit losses. Our team pick is Rutgers minus 12 points. Rutgers has an elite defense, so I have to side with the under in this game. The Scarlet Knights are ranked 6th nationally in field goal percentage allowed, and 7th nationally in points allowed. The Scarlet Knights are also in the bottom 3rd in the country of most offensive categories. The Cornhuskers also struggle to score, mainly because they play at the nation's 231st fastest adjusted tempo according to Ken Palm. Rutgers is even slower than that, ranking number 242 in adjusted tempo. Both teams have an over/under split heavily favoring the under this season. Nebraska's split is 8-17, while Rutgers has a split of 10-15. Give me the under 128.5 points in this game.